MW1Stop's crowned legends, the Fat Boys, the story of true crowned legends. Yo, what's good, family? You tap back in with MW1Stop's crowned legends, the spot where we talk these stories how they really sound in the barbershop, not how they dress them up on them corny TV docs. First off, let me thank all my subscribers, all my day ones, new ones. The ones watching at work when you supposed to be on the forklift, the ones laid up at the crib, the ones driving Lyft with this playing through the Bluetooth. I see y'all, I feel y'all, I appreciate y'all heavy, and like always, I gotta drop this disclaimer before we get messy. The information for this story comes from the internet and may not be accurate. You know how it go. Stories get twisted. Folks remember things different. Some of this is facts. Some of this is legend, but we gon' tell it how the streets be whispering it. Before we dive into this big boy saga, do me a solid. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring that bell like rent due on the 1st so you don't miss the next legend we crown. 8, let's talk about the Fat Boys. 3 big kids from Brooklyn, New York who took every fat joke, every side eye, every yo, y'all too big for this, and flipped that into tours, albums, movies, and history. While other rappers was trying to be cool, slim, and dangerous, these dudes showed up like, nah fam, we gonna be loud, funny, heavy, and get the same money you get, maybe more. You got Damon Cool Rock Ski Wembley, smooth talking Brooklyn cat with that cool swagger and clown you but you still like him energy. You got Mark Prince Marky D Morales, Puerto Rican from BK with that pen game, that radio voice, that natural star aura. Dude could spit, write, sing hooks, all that. And then the heart of the whole operation, Darren Buff Love, the human beatbox. Robinson, the big homie who turned his lungs into a drum machine. No machine, no sampler, just his chest, his throat, and a microphone. All kicks, snares, hi-hats, and bass lines coming straight from one man. Before they was the Fat Boys, they wasn't legends, they was just kids in New York trying not to get swallowed by the struggle. Broken homes, tight money, crowded apartments, streets calling your name. You either find something productive to do, or the block gon' enroll you in a course you ain't asked to take. For these 3, that escape plan was hip-hop. Cool Rock Ski holding down the flow, Prince Marky D stepping up with lyrics and charisma, and Buff doing beats with his mouth before a lot of folks even knew that was a thing you could build a whole career off of. They formed up as the Disco 3. That was the first jersey they put on. No one knew the name was temporary, but the hunger wasn't. They just needed that one shot, that one stage, that one night the whole city would have to notice them. That night came with a big-time rap contest at Radio City Music Hall. Picture it, early 80s New York, hip-hop still young, still fighting for respect, crews from all over the city showing up, thinking they the next big thing. Then in walk these 3 big dudes. Not movie star skinny, not leather suit fly, just Brooklyn heavyweights with a point to prove. Some people in the crowd probably smirking like, yo, who let the buffet line on stage? But then Buff stepped up to the mic and didn't even rap. No words, just pure beatbox. The man starts dropping a full drum kit from his mouth, kicks hitting your chest, hi-hats cutting through the speakers, little fills and breakdowns like there was an invisible band behind him. Folks in that crowd went from laughing to looking like, yo, what am I even witnessing? By the time Cool Rock Ski and Prince Marky D jumped in with the rhymes, the energy had flipped. What started as a joke in people's heads turned into straight up respect. They won that contest, and that's the night those 3 big kids from Brooklyn stopped being neighborhood talent and became a group with a future. That win linked them up with Charles Stetler, this Swiss manager who saw dollar signs the minute he laid eyes on them. He peeped what a lot of people saw but didn't know how to use, their size and their charisma. He wasn't just thinking, these kids can rap. He was thinking, these kids are characters. I can sell this to the world. And that's where the whole story turns up and gets tricky at the same time. Because he didn't just build them as artists, he built them as a brand around being fat. Out goes the Disco 3. In comes the name that's either genius or disrespect, depending how you look at it. The Fat Boys. Now today, a name like that would have Twitter spaces burning, think pieces, hashtags, people talking about body shaming, all that. But in the 80s, these boys took that label, strapped it on their chest, and turned it into a weapon. You gonna call us fat? Cool. We gonna put it on the album cover, on the t-shirts, on the posters, in the movie. You can't clown us with a word we already embrace. So they leaned in heavy, food skits, all-you-can-eat jokes, bellies out, larger than life on purpose. And under all that, they were low-key musical innovators. They linked up with Curtis Blow on production early on, stepped inside that studio, and cooked their debut album, Fat Boys, 1984. This wasn't just regular rap, this was full songs built on Buff's beatboxing. Imagine the engineers sitting there hitting record like, all right, we tracking drums. And Buff like, nah, I am the drums. He laid down whole rhythm tracks with his mouth, then the other two layered verses over it. At a time when hip-hop was still finding itself, these dudes were teaching everybody that the rules were wide open. You didn't have to be hard, you didn't have to be super conscious, you didn't have to be pretty. You could be fun, loud, big, and still be hip-hop. They followed up with The Fat Boys Are Back in 1985, and that title was prophetic. They was everywhere. Radio spots, magazine covers, TV appearances, posters in kids' rooms. They hit the road on the Fresh Fest tours, sharing stages with the Giants, Run DMC, Houdini, LL, all them early icons. Little kids in the crowd seeing them live for the first time had their minds blown. Three big dudes running around the stage, sweating, breathing hard, but never stopping. Buff making drum solos out his lungs, Cool Rock-Ski and Prince Marky D rocking the mic like it was recess for adults. If you was a chubby kid getting teased at school, seeing the Fat Boys on stage was like, oh, so I can be the star too, bet. Hollywood peeped that too. That's how they ended up in Crush Groove, the Def Jam movie that basically acted like a time capsule for early hip-hop. Run DMC, LL, Sheila E., everybody in there. Now in that movie, you got that legendary buffet scene. The three of them in the restaurant going crazy like they ain't never seen food before. It was funny, yeah, but it was also propaganda for the brand, the Fat Boys. We big, we wild, we eat everything, and we still the life of the party. That whole visual stuck in people's heads. For better or worse, the world now saw them as the funny big rap group. They kept dropping. Big and Beautiful, 1986. Crushing, 1987. Coming Back Hard Again, 1988. They had bangers like Can You Feel It, Jailhouse Rap, Fat Boys, All You Can Eat, and crossover joints like Wipeout with the Beach Boys and The Twist, Yo Twist with Chubby Checker. That's crazy when you think about it. Three hip-hop kids from Brooklyn locking in with old school rock and roll and pop icons, climbing charts, getting MTV shine. They were helping push hip-hop from just a New York thing into something the suburbs and the rest of the world could see and interact with. But on the flip side of all that success, the image versus respect battle was brewing. Hardcore heads, too cool for jokes, started looking at the Fat Boys like a novelty act. While some rappers were talking about the streets, politics, real pain, these dudes were in movies, rocking neon fits, doing dance tracks with the Beach Boys. The question probably started popping up in their own heads too. Are we artists or are we clowns for the cameras? Are they pushing the music or just selling the gimmick? Behind the curtain, you know the usual industry demons are lurking. Contracts nobody fully understands, managers and labels getting their cut first, taxes, bad deals, the whole starter pack of exploitation. A lot of 80s rap acts got caught in that same trap, becoming household names while the bank account didn't match the popularity. Add to that the grind, endless touring, junk food, no real rest, plus the pressure of staying on all the time. They weren't just any group, they were literally marketing themselves behind a health hazard. Overeating, always playing up the size, breathing heavy, all for laughs on camera, while their bodies was taking real damage in real time. Then came the era switch, late 80s turning into early 90s, and hip-hop got darker, sharper, and more serious. NWA on the West Coast, Public Enemy yelling through megaphones, Rakim rewriting how MCs rhyme, KRS-One, all that. The vibe shifted from party and fun to pain, politics, and gangster realism. Suddenly, poppy, goofy, food joke rap wasn't what the streets wanted to hear like that. The Fat Boys tried to keep moving, but the sound people associated with them was already locked in. To the public, they were still the dudes from the buffet scene, the movie Disorderlies, 1987, the Twist songs with Chubby Checker. Meanwhile, radio and labels started chasing a new wave. As the spotlight cooled off, internal tension started creeping in like it does with most groups. You got 3 grown men now, not kids. Egos bigger, bills bigger, health issues lurking, money not always adding up right. Questions about who really carrying the group, who writing what, who getting what cut. Most groups don't die from one big blow. They bleed out slowly from 100 little paper cuts. Eventually, the Fat Boys didn't have some grand last dance, no epic farewell tour. It was more like that quiet fade. One day they everywhere. Next thing you know, you ask yourself, yo, when the last time I seen them all together? Then the real heartbreak hit. In 1995, Darren Buff Love, the human beatbox Robinson, passed away at just 28 years old from a heart attack tied to respiratory and weight-related issues. 28. That's younger than a lot of y'all watching this. The same lungs that entertained the world, that powered all that beatboxing, that had crowds losing their minds. Those lungs had been pushed to the limit for years. The character, the human beat box, was fun on camera, but off camera, you got a big dude fighting a body that's under serious stress. His death wasn't just another hip-hop RIP post. It was the silence of a sound that helped build the foundation of the culture. After Buff, beatboxing never felt quite the same. You could beatbox, but you wasn't Buff. Life kept moving, even with that hole in the story. Prince Marky D reinvented himself heavy. He slid from the front of the stage to the back of the studio and started writing and producing. He had a solo run, tracks like Typical Reason, Swing My Way, and then got real busy behind the boards helping shape that early 90s hip-hop soul lane. He worked with Mary J. Blige and others, helping craft that sound where R&B and rap hug each other instead of standing apart. On top of that, he became a radio personality, bringing that OG voice and perspective to the airwaves, talking to a new generation that might not even know he once ran around on tour as part of the Fat Boys. Marky D proved he wasn't just some fat rapper from the 80s. He was a full-blown musician and architect in the game. But life got its own time on everybody. In 2021, right around his 53rd birthday, Prince Marky D passed away from heart-related complications. Another big heart gone too early. So now you look up and realize 2 out of the 3 Fat Boys are gone, both to health issues tied to the same thing the world used to laugh about, their size. The same bellies that the posters and movies turned into punchlines ended up being the root of a lot of their pain. That's when this story stops being just funny old school nostalgia and feels more like a cautionary tale about the industry, about health, and about what we sell to the world without thinking about the long-term cost. That leaves Damon Cool Rock Ski Wembley as the last one standing, the final member of that original trio. He been out here in interviews, docs, appearances, still holding down the legacy, telling the behind-the-scenes stories, speaking on the contracts, the tours, the ups and downs, the joys and the regrets. You can hear it when he talks. All the years of people remembering the jokes, but not always honoring the skill, the courage, and the sacrifice that came with living life in that spotlight as the Fat Boys. If you still riding with me right now, deep in this big boy story, go ahead and tap that like button, drop a comment, and make sure you subscribe to MW1Stop's Crown Legends. Tell me your favorite Fat Boys joint. Was it Jailhouse Rap? Can You Feel It? That all-you-can-eat buffet scene in Crush Groove, or something else? Let's push their name back into the algorithm. Make the machines remember what the streets already know. Because here's the real. The Fat Boys were way more than a punchline. They were kids from Brooklyn who kicked down doors just by existing loudly in bodies the world told them to be ashamed of. They showed other big kids that you could be the center of attention, not the butt of the joke. And even if you was the joke, you could own it, flip it, and cash it. They helped show that hip-hop could be funny, theatrical, crossover, mainstream, and still be hip-hop. You don't get a lot of what came later. Big rappers, comedic rappers, rappers in movies, pop collabs, without somebody like them testing those waters first. Yeah, the industry used them. Yeah, the health piece got ignored until it was too late. Yeah, they should have had better deals, better doctors, better protection around them. But you can't talk early hip-hop without seeing their big shadows moving in the background. Beatboxing on stage, Buff had that. Rappers in Hollywood movies, they were there. Pop/rap crossover, they did that. Big rappers on TV being embraced, they helped normalize that. They laughed, they ate, they toured, they sweated on stage for hours. They got love, they got clowned, they got paid, they got played. And they left a mark so deep that even if you never press play on a Fat Boys record, the people they inspired probably touched something you love. This has been MW1Stop's Crown Legends, and if you rocked with me all the way to the end of this drop, I appreciate you for real. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with somebody who grew up on these dudes or some youngin' who only knows beatboxing from TikTok and needs to learn about Buff Love, Prince Marky D, and Cool Rockski. On this channel, we don't just remember the charts, we remember the impact. Because around here, where legends never die.